welcome to my channel. So there wasn't much to watch this weekend on streaming. I think everyone's still like super hung up on the Jeff Dahmer story that's on Netflix. I mean, Ryan Murphy, he does it again because it's breaking all like viewership records. It passed Bridgerton on the most viewed show. So people are keeping it busy by watching that show. And speaking of busy, like I said, Ryan Murphy, I feel like every other week or every month, there's a new show either directed, produced, or written by him. Because now if you look on Netflix, I think the #1 show is The Watcher, which is also by Ryan Murphy. And I'm like, do you ever sleep, man? I gave the Jeff Dahmer a chance. I watched the first 3 episodes and honestly, I felt it was pretty slow. And I was like, I'll pass, because I had already seen like a documentary with the killer. But a friend of mine told me that it picks up on episode 7. And I was like, wait, the show picks up on episode 7? That's like, there's only 10 episodes. So you're telling me I have to watch 7 hours before it picks up? There's also the fact that the families of the victims, some of the families came out and then they said that, they're not happy about the show, that they didn't get any warning, they didn't get a call, they didn't get compensation, no one wrote them an email saying that this thing is going to come out. All this trauma that's being brought up to life again, I can't imagine. Since the family spoke out, I feel kind of icky watching it because I love a good true crime, but capitalizing and glamorizing the serial killers makes me feel like icky inside. If you're looking for something more lighthearted and you need a break from all the serial killers that's on Netflix, I watched Rosaline, which is on Hulu. And when I saw the trailer, I thought, what a clever idea, because it's about it's a new take on the most famous love story in the world, Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet, but we see through Rosaline's eyes. And Rosaline, if you read the book or if you've seen any adaptation of Romeo and Juliet, Rosaline, she's Romeo's ex. I think he was dating her, courting her. We hear about Rosaline in the beginning. I can't remember if it was like Mercutio who said something to him, but Rosaline it's like briefly mentioned when Romeo says that he's in love with Juliet, and they're like, weren't you just dating Rosaline? But we never actually see her. So I thought it was really interesting because, this whole movie, it's their story, but through her point of view. By the way, what is Romeo's problem? Because he goes from dating a Capulet, and they have, he knows how hard it is because they have to, sneak out in the middle of the night. They only meet in the dark. They plan to run away together because the families are enemies. And then he goes and finds another Capulet. I'm like, Romeo, are those girls the only girls in Verona? Rosaline is played by Kaitlyn Dever, which, oh my gosh. Oh, by the way, she's one of the executive producers on this movie, so good for her. I first saw her in Unbelievable. It's a series on Netflix, and I put it on my top 5, maybe top 10. But it was one of the best shows that came out that year. Unbelievable, with Meredith Weaver, Toni Collette, and Kaitlyn. It was such a good show. And Kaitlyn was like a standout. And then I saw Booksmart and I was like, there she is again. Oh my gosh, she's so good. And then most recently she did Dope Sick. Again, amazing. She reminds me a lot of Florence Pugh. Like, they know how to pick the best projects for them. And they give like 110%. No matter what project, movie, or series they're in, they're always a standout. Like, needless to say, Kaitlyn, it's perfectly cast here. She's such a sassy and witty Rosaline. Even the little lines that she has, someone is talking to her and then all she says is whatever, but she makes it so funny. And then there's a couple of other times that all she says is whatever, and I was laughing out loud. Another great casting, Minnie Driver, who plays the nurse. She has the best lines in the movies. She has a small part, but whenever she's on screen, oh my gosh, the script, she makes fun of the fact that she's like an actual registered nurse. But here she's playing a maid. I really enjoyed the script. I found myself laughing quite a few times. Like when Juliet is explaining to Rosaline her whole plan with Romeo about faking her own death and waking up and running away together. Rosaline's like, that is the stupidest freaking idea I've ever heard. There are 50 ways that this could go wrong. And I know this movie, it's based on a book called When You Were Mine. I haven't read it. If you have read the book, let me know in the comments down below. Do you recommend it? And I'm glad they kept it in Shakespearean times, not like, what was that movie with Julie Stiles, Heath Ledger, 10 Things I Hate About You, where they made it modern in a high school. But here, being in medieval times, it made it more like funny for the jokes. The nurse, who by the way, her name is Janet. She's like, I'm not just a nurse, my name is actually Janet. And then arranged marriages and women not being able to speak up. And Rosaline's best friend, he's gay and he can't come out. On the other hand, the soundtrack was very modern, and you might recognize a lot of the songs because most of the songs on the soundtrack are big hits. Even when they're just like instrumental ones, you recognize a lot of the songs. I was also very pleased about how the story ended because there is a little twist at the end. I was watching it and I was like, what are they gonna do with this? Because we know what happens to Romeo and Juliet. Are they gonna end this with like a mellow, dramatic ending? You know, what's going to happen? So I was very happy about what they did with it, and make sure you stick around for the end credit scene. Even though this movie is very PG-13, I had a great time. And now that it's getting cold and gloomy and all you want to do is, be under a blanket on the couch, this is the perfect movie for like after breakfast or after lunch, like a matinee movie. So what do you think? Are you gonna give Rosaline a try? Because it's streaming now on Hulu. And what is your favorite adaptation of Romeo and Juliet? Mine, of course, Leo and Claire and Baz Luhrmann's Romeo plus Juliet. Sound off in the comments below. And if you like this video, please make sure you hit the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and also hit the little bell, the notification button so you don't miss any future videos. And I'll see you next time.